I want to start out by asking one of you if you want to play a game. Not Deborah, but anybody else. Would you like to play a game? Who would? Aaron. Okay, you go first. You're sort of stumped, aren't you? Okay. Playing a game, if you make the first move, you have to know what you're doing. You need to know what the rules are. The choices of what to say or do are so utterly broad that you don't know what the path forward is. In music, there are very sophisticated rules. Its order is constructed very carefully, and it's constrained. Out of a rule system, there's an infinite array of possibility, and you have chaos. There was, during the French Revolution, a philosopher, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who said, "Any restraint of order is a limit of freedom." I say, no, it's just the opposite. Instead, you need a set of principles in order to go forward, in order to make a move, in order to play a game, in order to live a life. To get the maximum desirable freedom, you need principles. Freedom not from everything, not to do anything. So let's look at the godly order. The 10 principles, which obviously are the 10 commandments. And we're going to look at them, and I'm going to share some things you probably never thought about before. I know I was taught the 10 commandments when I was a child, and then in junior high, here's a Lutheran catechism, and we were taught the 10 commandments and other things about the Lord from that. And Roman Catholics have a catechism that they learn from that deals with the 10 commandments as well. So I'm going to deal with 3 main points, and you probably won't see the 10 principles or the 10 commandments the same way again after tonight. So we're going to dig deeper into the Word, and as you get deeper and deeper, you find out more about God's unbounding love and his passionate love for us. Starting out with Exodus 19, verse 3, "And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel." The point here I want to make is that Moses went up. He went up to Mount Sinai. And by the way, that's a real place. It's been found. It's part of the Saudi Arabian government's national park system. You can get a permission to go there from the government, and it's really there. And it's a red rock mountain, and it's burned black on the top. And if you chip away some of the black, it's red underneath. And it's not a volcano. A fire burnt on top of that mountain. They've also found the Red Sea crossing, the split rock that Moses struck and the water rushed out, and a variety of other things in the Middle East that verify that the Bible is very accurate, the Torah. So Moses went up to God. Exodus 19, verse 4. "You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself." Okay, God brought Israel to himself, to myself. Exodus 19, verse 5. "Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant," okay, here it's a covenant, "then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine." So the main point here is The commandments are a covenant. And a covenant is an alliance. Can also be a treaty. It's a pact, P-A-C-T. It's a contract. And we also call it a testament. Then the whole canon of Scripture is called the Testament, Old Testament, New Testament. And here Israel is called to be a peculiar treasure. They're not supposed to blend in. They're to be peculiar, different. Romans 12, verse 2. And be not conformed unto this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So here again, God's people are told not to be conformed. Do not model a pattern of behavior that's in line with the world system. Don't agree with the present world system. Don't mix in with it. Then we go back to Exodus 19, verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So, Israel, as well as believers today, are called to be priests, ministers that have authority. A priest is a mediator. We're called to be mediators between people and God and people. And we know from Genesis 1 in the creation account that God has the right to give a certain part of his creation to a chosen people, since he created everything. Now, these 10 commandments were written on stone, 2 stone tablets. And you probably have seen depictions of this maybe on courthouses and other places where you have the first 4 on 1 stone and 6 through 10 on another stone. One point I want to make is that they're not written on clay. The common practice of the day was to take a slab of wet clay and then use a stylus and write into the wet clay, and then it would harden. But these are written in stone by the finger of God. And I remember when Jesus was confronted with a woman who was caught in adultery, and he didn't say anything at first. He bent down and he wrote on the ground, and I shared this once before. He was in the temple, so that was stone. It wasn't a bunch of dirt that you could mark in. He was, I believe, showing that it was his finger that wrote in the stone at Mount Sinai. He wrote those commandments. Deuteronomy 5, verse 2. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. A covenant again shows up. Why? A covenant is a contract. And a contract really has 2 parties. There are 2 parties. So I believe 10 on one stone, 10 on the other stone, because this was a contract between 2 and his people. Those stone tablets, Moses threw down the first set because people went off doing raucous, evil things. But with the second set, written the same way. In the ark, in the place of meeting, in the tabernacle. And this ark is not the same thing as Noah's barge. This ark is A-R-O-N in Hebrew, A-R-O-N. Not the same